Jermell Charlo's Media Workout. Welcome to Fouts Boxing Theory, and in this video, we're going to be taking a look at Jermell Charlo's Media Workout. We're going to be talking about some theory. We're going to be talking about some workout. We're going to be talking about a bunch of stuff here, and we're going to kind of be going over most of his workout, kind of watching it. We're not going to be listening to Booker T. I guess that's Booker T. I don't know who that is. I don't know why he's here, but if it helps hype up the fight and Jermell Charlo gets paid off of it, I ain't tripping. So first, we're going to talk about some of the shadow boxing. We're going to talk about some of the stuff that's going on, that's not going on. Now, one thing we want to talk about immediately, when he gets on the line with the opponent, in theory, right? What does he do with them? Here he is, front foot. Did he block? Did he slip? Did he catch a punch? Did he throw a punch? What did he do when he got here, right? Okay, so let's take a look at that one because I was going to criticize him. Is it front? And then is he pulling? Is that a move like that? Or is he just penduluming forward? I cannot see his feet, so I can't make an exact determination about what he's doing. But it looks to me like he's going to be pendulum walking forward. He's going to go forward, pendulum walk back, and now he goes to the line with a 1-2. Okay, first thing, okay. Most of the time when Charlo gets to the line, he throws a punch. All right. Most people, when they get to the line, they're going to throw a hard shot. They're going to check the line. Sometimes that's not bad. As we saw a few weeks ago with another Derek James fighter, Errol Spence, right? People who say, oh, you always start with the jab. You always, man, there's no always anything except for you always got to win the fight, right? That's the only always. And when you have fighters that always get to the line and throw a jab, or they always get to the line and throw a stepping jab, it can be very, very difficult for those types of fighters. I'll say even to fight a power puncher, just to fight a guy who hits hard, right? Think about what happened to Amir Khan when he fought Crawford. Think about what happened to Amir Khan when he fought Canelo. Okay, both of those guys, Jermell is looking to fight against both of those guys, right? He's looking to pick up fights. So we'll see, because I think, and I don't want to give too much away about it, but Canelo is a very poor man's Terence Crawford. Okay, he's a very poor man's Terence Crawford, and I would pick Terence Crawford to knock Canelo out, maybe. Nah, I definitely would pick him to knock Canelo out, for sure. But what we want to take a look at is what he's doing. Now, this is the best thing that Charlo does, right? He throws a 1-2. It can be very sneaky. It can be very fast. He lets that shot go off pretty quickly. And like a lot of times you're going to see it. It's going to be looking just like this, right? Where he's going to get on the line. Oh, maybe not a combination, but a couple jabs. That was a jab hook, a couple of jabs here. Here's a jab and 1-2. And it just kind of sneaks up on you that he's going to be throwing a 1-2 because I don't want to say layer it so well in the ones, but his ones are very fast. He's very explosive. He lets the shots go off really quickly. And while you're trying to interact with the speed of his ones, he starts sneaking in 1-2s. And like all of that is really good. And all of that, again, is going to be very, very effective against someone who's not as good of a fighter as he is. I'll say, not as strong as he is, not in as good a shape as he is. Super effective tactics, right? But at some point, you're just not always the strongest and fastest guy in the ring. Or you're not strong enough and fast enough that's going to be the best tactic, okay? So, what are the other things that we see him doing in his shadow boxing? Well, number one, okay, this stuff is not good. Expect him to do this kind of stuff here, right? Pendulum stepping around, and this is a move. This is a move. He's using a move to take a break. All right. This is one of those things where someone gets hurt in a fight, and they're like Keith Thurman versus Luis Collazo, right? He gets hurt in the fight, and then he just runs away, and then he tries to give the guy some daps, and he's like, yo, what's up, dude? That was a good shot. And then the other guy's like, nah, man, I'm here to win. Don't be giving me that shit. And it's one of those things, if you're expecting to be ahead, you're going to do after you get hit, and the guy's not always going to give you a rest. And Canelo's the kind of guy that if you start doing dumb, goofy shit, he's going to knock you out. He's not going to let you do that stuff. So after a sequence, if Charlo tries to take a break, if he interrupts his own sequences, his own boxing to do stuff like this to reset, He's going to struggle, okay? Now, I want to say that, but I also want to say that there probably should be less opportunities for him to do stuff like that anyway, because Canelo will be putting on the faux pressure. He's going to be close. He's going to be doing, all that stuff he's supposed to do. 1, uppercut, 2, block, 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 roll. Okay, practicing some non-punching activity. Almost every time he gets to the line, though. Okay, so he's going to go back, jab. He's going to go to the line, and now he leaves the line, jumps off the line, and throws a combination. I like that. But as we can see, not a lot of variations to him getting on the line. Most of it is him getting to the line, and he throws an uppercut, he throws a jab. Here he's going to start that sequence here with the jab, boom, and then start playing with his sequences, just trying to get a workout. And I do want to say that for the most part, I don't remember Canelo having very dynamic shadow boxing either. Okay, very, very basic. I don't expect him, or I don't remember Canelo even being very explosive in his shadow boxing, which is one of those things that in your shadow boxing, you do want to practice fast. You do want to practice hard. It's not just like, oh, I'm just going over the move. Like you are. We're going to be taking a look at a little bit of training from this guy here. This is Joan Guzman. He's one of my favorite fighters ever. He was a huge, huge, huge inspiration to me when I was growing up and watching. And I never wanted to miss a Joan Guzman fight. I thought that guy was an incredible talent. Yeah, similar in the same vein as like a Zab Judah. Very, very physically gifted and talented, and I want to say like one of the first guys, right, to be that gifted and talented. I think that for a while, actually, he was working with Floyd Mayweather Sr. for a little bit, and they were talking about how they're trying to make his punches straighter. He'll never throw straight punches and some shit like that. Larry Merchant, shut up. You don't know shit about boxing. Just kidding, Larry Merchant. You were a huge staple of my childhood. Love you, bro. Little circling stuff. And now, one thing we want to talk about, let's talk about his head movement. Okay, so as soon as I say that, he gives us a little bit of this, a little slip here. But most of the time when he's circling and moving around here, his head is in one spot. Okay, I want to say that that's going to make it easy for Canelo to find it, kind of. Charlo still has a lot of movement. He's still got, a lot of circling, a lot of, and it's still difficult to pin him down because he's pretty quick. And again, you just never know when he's going to throw a 1-2, when he's just going to boom, boom. Now, 1-1-2 there, because he's going to give him a little pump fake first. Bop, bop, bop. So let's pay attention to that. If there's a lot of them, 1-1-1-2s, very long sequences here. But notice again, all of these sequences are started, okay, except for this one here where he jumps off and he throws the uppercut thing, are started off the jab, right? And it's very, very, very important. Have we seen in his shadow boxing any pull counters? Have we seen in his shadow boxing any catch encounters? Have we seen in his shadow boxing, right? What have we seen? Because that's the stuff that he's going to be the best at. Okay, a little bit of, like, I'll say faux head movement. We want to pay attention. He's not bringing his hands with him. Okay, he's not blocking, he's not catching, he's not interacting with punches unless they're actually being slipped. And all that stuff is pretty difficult. To slip and get away from all the punches without having your hands up. Sometimes you're going to get clipped, right? So looking like, he's probably not going to fight like this, I wouldn't say. Getting to the line and immediately slipping, pulling. Okay, so I like that. Not making the first thing that he does on the line, right? Actually, it looks like he gives a little block first. Block. Or is it a feint and then slip and then pull and then roll under the line? Now, a few things that we want to talk about, because this part's very important, okay? When you catch and counter, right, that's a block and a punch. When you slip and counter, that's a slip and a punch. When you pull and counter, that's a slip and then a punch after. And it's important to note that in all three of those sequences that I just mentioned, that the rhythm and the pacing for punching and defensive activity is 1-for-1, right? Every other beat, right? One defensive, one offensive. And when we take a look at Jermell here, throwing punches and doing stuff with his work, he's either throwing all punches or he's doing all defense. And like I just said, this is not how boxing works. Okay? I fully expect him to do something like this in the fight. Maybe if he hurts him, maybe at the end of a round that he gets hurt and he goes, "What? Come on, bring it." Guaranteed watch him do some shit like this in the ring. I know he's just stretching here and he's just chilling, but guarantee it. Little Bivol boxing right here. Oh, give him some fucking flashbacks from that Bivol beating. And now this is one of the really interesting things about this fight, is that Jermell Charlo is not as good as Bivol. Okay? He's not. But here's the thing. How badly did Bivol beat Canelo? Well, it was pretty clearly a one-sided fight, right? Somehow they gave Canelo 5 rounds, which was horse shit. He did not win 5 rounds. He'd be lucky to win 2. He'd be lucky to win. He'd lucky to have scored any rounds won. You know, to be honest, I don't remember him winning any rounds. I don't remember him landing any punches. Jab, pull, hook. Can't exactly tell. But Jermell Charlo is big. He's explosive. He's definitely fast, right? And as Canelo has gotten, I'll say more and more entrenched in his striking style, because I've been saying it for a few years now. I said it when I picked Bivol to beat Canelo, and I predicted exactly how it was going to happen and how he was jazz sucks and all that stuff. But Canelo has a hard time closing the distance between him and his opponents. He has a very difficult time doing that because he's short for the weight division, right? He's not very big, and his stepping jab is not very good. He doesn't know what to do with all of his weight, so he gets stuck on the line. His back foot will drag. He'll do bad stuff, And even though Bivol didn't completely dismantle his jab, right, he could have done better. It was still a huge liability for him, and I think it's going to be an even worse liability against Jermell, even though I think this is an easier fight than Bivol. I do think it's an easier fight than Bivol, but again, 12 rounds to none. How much easier does Canelo need to win 7 rounds, right? Or get 6 rounds in a knockdown? Now, one thing that's very interesting about this is that, number one, that's a brand new pad. How funny is that? That thing's brand fucking new. How long has Derek James been using this guy to hold mitts for him, right? To hold the punch shield, right? I wonder. Maybe is it since I called him out for never letting Errol Spence practice any power punching, right? Because it's extremely important that you practice your power punching, okay? If you don't practice punching hard, when you're in the fight, you're not going to punch the guy hard. And against a guy like Errol Spence, you don't get unlimited opportunities. It's not just I get to be on the line with the guy like Kell Brook because chocolate brownies don't hurt, and you just get to batter him and throw 1,000 punches and eventually one breaks his orbital because you hit it a fucking 100 times. That doesn't happen with Crawford because he's not going to sit there and beat on your orbital. He's going to knock you out. Right? Now, I've been saying it also for years. I don't think Canelo is the greatest puncher. He's like a pretty okay puncher. He's breaking orbital bones and not knocking guys out. Right? But he is one of those guys that he doesn't actually practice any boxing, but he practices a lot of striking. And over the last few years, especially if you look at, say the Liam Smith fight, what was his punching power like? What was his technique like? What was he doing with his movement? What was his training like? And now he has a huge emphasis on power punching, and well, he's one of the better punchers in boxing right now, even though everyone sucks at boxing or at punching. If you guys want to learn how punching power works, if you guys want to learn how I do mitts, you want to learn how to learn mitts, you want to learn how to learn the correct structure, and I talk about it in my videos if you guys want to go back through them. Nobody has a system in boxing that teaches you how to drive from both feet. I'm the first person in history to understand that this is where true punching power it comes from, where athleticism comes from, is your ability to drive from both feet. And I have an entire combat system dedicated to teach you how to utilize this idea to its maximum potential. Not only that, I'm also going to teach you how to improve your hand speed and your punching power as well through some other drills, okay, that I like to teach in the form of the 1-inch punch or 1-inch hooks. But very, very, very cool stuff, guaranteed to teach you how to throw your best punch and then increase the power of that punch as well. And to a commensurate rate is you're willing to train it. Okay. I still train mine every day. I'm still seeing growth every day. Every time I go back to the bags, I'm hitting harder and harder. Yeah. Anyway, these are the drills. These are exactly the things that fighters like Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis do. People would say naturally, right? But on accident. If Ryan Garcia didn't do it on accident, he would know how he does it with his right hand, and he would throw his right hand and his left hand the same way. But he doesn't. So I'm going to teach you what Ryan Garcia is doing with his hands. I'm going to teach you so you can generate power, so you can understand. And also the mitt drills and stuff that I'm going to teach you, all the things that I'm talking about that Charlo is missing, like pulls and blocks and catches and stuff. You'll learn how to do that stuff on the track drills as well, and what I call the track. But anyway, let's go ahead and get back to a little bit of Charlo's work. And we're going to talk about some ideas. Okay, number one, punching power. Okay, there are rules to punching power. There's rules. And if you follow the rules that I've created, the system that I created for punching and how punching power works, you will increase your punching power. Now, one thing that Jermell does here that's not good, right, is he doesn't move his head at all. His head's almost always stuck. It's always in one spot. And without allowing it to move, he doesn't have the ability to maximize his punching power, right? To be honest, he's mostly just kind of smacking into the bags. Or the pad. He's not really squeezing and driving into it and getting all his weight into these shots. As he's not moving his head nearly at all. Now, there are a lot of things that he's doing wrong. I want to point out, we can't really see his feet right here. Real quick, load up here. Load up with the left shoulder, right? If he's throwing this shot here, he could be throwing a left hook here, and now he's throwing another right hand. So these are like interesting things that you want to be, mindful that you're practicing or not practicing, because if you're fighting like this, you're just like Errol Spence here, right? Boom, and now you charge, and then boom. Not only did he not punch with that left hand, but he didn't block with it either. These kinds of ideas are super important. If you're going to have the guy doing a drill like this, you really want to make it functional for boxing. So this should be a left or a right uppercut. This should be a block. This should be something. He should be doing something on this beat here and then throwing the next shot. Obviously, he's just practicing punching power. But, if you're going to be putting this much attention to it, why not make it, I don't want to say perfect, but as perfect as you can, right? Now, this was something that I thought was really interesting, because here he's going to be control, 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 and then his coach turns it to this and he throws a hook. This is a pretty common pattern for him. This is something that he likes to do quite a bit. It's like the part of the Mayweather blueprint, right? That gives him two little games to play off of his jab, right? He can play the jab hook, or he can do the jab, the 1-2, right? Where he's going to sneak in there and throw a 1-2 real quick and try to steal some points. Similar to Strickland versus Adesanya. this past weekend where Strickland kind of caught him with that 1-2 real quick. But I wanted to, put special attention to the idea that Derek James is standing right there. Why isn't he doing mitts with this guy? Anybody want to guess why? Well, because his mitt work is in my videos all over the internet. And like, granted, nobody wants to be like, have their work deconstructed and this and that, but don't be offended by it, Don't give away all your secrets too, I guess, right? But when you're going to be doing things on the world stage, right? You're part of the number one fight of the year, right? You're going to get some attention. You're going to get some criticism. Now, a few things here. There's not a lot of games, right, that he's practicing on this punch shield, right? A little 2-1 here, practicing some interesting combos. Okay, finally adding in some defense here, right? Notice when Canelo practices on the punch shield, his routines are very basic. He follows it around, just throws power punches. So here they have kind of a little routine they're getting into. And again, where's the defense? Is he turning it into a block here? And then boom, block, boom, roll. Okay, I like it. One of those things that he likes to do, throw a lot of hooks in a row. And this is literally something he'll do. And he'll just start jumping in, leaping hook, leaping hook, leaping hook. That's not a good thing to do because each time that he cocks back like that, he could be throwing a right hand too, right? Let's see what he's telling him to do. So this is the move here. Boom, jab, pendulum, uppercut. I don't know if you guys remember that from my videos with Errol Spence, but Errol Spence's only way to get on the line was jab, pendulum, and do that thing. And here he is trying to teach him that move. Charlo is much sharper, right? And man, I don't want to say that the way that he's being taught right now is worthless to him. Like what he's telling him to do, like that's not how you want to do it. But he's teaching him a different skill than he's going to be able to, I think, put together here. And I think that okay. I don't think Derek James is teaching it correctly for what he wants. And I do think that that Charlo is capable of learning what he's supposed to learn here. Let's see if he does it. Let's see. Jab. Now, real quick, you guys. You remember Derek James's patterns? Back, forward, back, forward, back, forward. And he's getting to the front foot with a punch each time, so it's starting to look a little bit more like boxing here, right? And he's moving through, still not doing a lot of, oh, okay, a couple of different things here. Boom, and then left hook, left, pendulum, right? Now, if we watch this sequence here, again, it's starting to finally come together a little bit real quick. Again, he doesn't really move his head. The pad holder doesn't really know what he's supposed to be doing. He's not doing it correctly. I don't know if this guy doesn't have any experience. I don't know who this guy is. But not a lot of head movement from Charlo. Not a lot of defense from Charlo, right? Little move there. He gets on the line with the right hand, rolling under the line. controlling it here, boom, and then taking that big step, taking it and throwing the right hand, little pendulum shot here. And this is one of those things that Errol Spence did as well, where he would take that step, and when he would throw that step, Crawford would catch him on the inside here with his right hook. So be very careful, Charlo. I still don't see him doing the move that Derek James was telling him, right? I don't know if he was telling him to pendulum walk or to pendulum step, but Charlo is really sharp, and he probably doesn't know how to break it down like that. A little bit of walk there, but no punches before. Boom, pendulum walk. All right, and stay tuned. Don't forget to stay tuned for we're going to be taking a look at some other training footage with him and Joan Guzman. Some really, really interesting stuff at the end. But I don't want to miss anything in what his routine is because I haven't watched this yet. So I think this is getting a little bit closer to what Derek James was trying to tell him to do. He was trying to get him to do this move. Some of this stuff. Now, in a fight, right? You have all these games that this guy's going to play here, right? On the mitts and with this punch shield. Is he just giving him a random thing to do? You know, is there a flow to it? Does it make sense? Because one of the things that I was talking about earlier is when Charlo looks to take breaks in his patterns and his rhythms, in front of his opponent is not always going to be okay with those breaks and patterns and breaks, right? And he's going to want to continue fighting. And if the things that he's doing on the punch shield here aren't making any sense, and he's, I'll say, going through poor sequences, they're going to translate. Like Errol Spence not understanding that when he's on the inside, when he's throwing punches with Crawford, right? Either he needs to be all the way inside or all the way outside. And there were just so many sequences where he should have been all the way on the inside. And he was just at this weird range where Crawford could just throw his best power punches. And it was really weird. It just looked out of place. It looked, like an amateur. So anyway, here we go into a little bit of heavy bag work from Charlo. And I'm actually a pretty big fan of the Charlo's heavy bag routines. I love that they just go fucking ape shit and they will just throw fucking bombs and have fun. I love it. I think it's really important to be creative and to, enjoy your work. So only beginners hit standing heavy bag. So here the bag is moving into him. Now, real quick, we just talked about it. Okay. Here comes the bag. He's taking that step in. He's crossing the line, throwing that shot. Nothing wrong with practicing your power, but this is exactly how he practiced it on that punch shield. Right? The same technical ability, the same problem where if there's a left hook there, if the guy is waiting on the front foot and Canelo's a front foot fighter, there's a room for a left hook to catch you. Right? Now, you're not going to block all the holes, but you can't throw this punch the same way every time. So this is something, if I was watching Charlo here, I'd be like, okay, you got to maybe fix this or fix that. Or, even if this here, as he gets on the line, he gives him a defensive move with the left hand. Just get on the line and control it first. Okay? If you guys want to learn more about that idea, I have a video series in the Fouts Boxing Combat System called the Track Drills to teach you how to do them on the heavy bag. They're the same as the mitt work. And it's going to teach you this concept, okay? How important it is to control the line every time you interact with it. And as he gets to the line, he's not interacting with it first. he's throwing a big punch at it, right? Which is like, a time and place and, whatever. No, I'm just kidding. It's not good. Especially when you're going into a fight against, one of the most dangerous fighters in boxing, right? Now, I don't know how good of a counterpuncher Canelo is going to be in this fight. I know that he can counter punches, but he's not on average a counter puncher. Okay. Now, one thing that's going on here, right? Boom, off the line. Okay, first off, the bag is circling. He throws a left hook. Why is he going to pivot out this way? It's not something we want him to be doing in front of Canelo, because if Canelo gets him backed against the ropes and he's waiting for this shot, this is an interesting one too. I'm going to show it right now, real quick. Boom. This is Castano here coming in. How much like Canelo is this, right? Boom. You see that left hook there? This is the left hook he's throwing right here. We don't want him to really fall off balance. We don't want him to get stuck there, because Canelo maybe start trying to come back with a left hook after that, right? He makes it to the position with the right hand, right? Boom. Now he makes the counter. The left hook is going to be coming. Even if you hit Canelo, he's going to be coming with the left hook. So the positions like this, right, where after you throw a shot, you got to be defending your position. I don't think that he was actually defending his position. I think that the moment passed, right? But that's one of the things that Charlo needs to be working on. Another thing, right, after he throws that shot, look at him reset, right? Is that kind of what it looks like he's trying to do here? Boom, boom. And now it looks like he's going to go reset, right? Now he does wind up throwing a shot here. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. Tap, control, or tap, counter. And then look at him tap here, counter. We're going to talk about that a little bit later when we talk about a little bit more pad work and such. But after landing a big shot, if he's practicing circling off like that and he's not practicing defending his position, right? Errol Spence had a terrible time in this fight because he would throw his rear hand, he would get on the line, throw his left hand, and he would just exit the line. And he would get countered by Crawford many, many, many times. Number 3, or number 69, okay? How often does he move his head? Okay, as soon as I say that, right? Here, so one slip. But how many times have we seen him slip? Is he moving his head now? He threw a combination. Now he's going to go reset, right? We saw during the resetting here, right? Just in this tiny clip here. Boom, boom. Here's the reset. Look at that. That glove is making contact with him, right? It's getting him. Okay? Canelo's a better puncher than Castano by a wide margin. But again, it's very important to practice your non-punching activity. It's very important that you practice all the ways that you're going to get on the line, all the ways that you're, have a very diverse routine. Okay? Now, I love the explosiveness. Boom, boom, into the boom, 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 boom. And then he's throwing this right hand, bop, 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 bop. And he's going to pendulum to the right, left hook, roll under the line. Some sick work, right? He even manages to continue interacting with the bag here, right? But is this what you want to be doing right after you throw your left hook here? I mean, I guess at least he rolled, right? But the fight doesn't end here. You're only one move ahead of your opponent. You got to be ready to continue interacting. And again, that's one of those things that I think is I think he did a pretty good job against Castano of not doing that kind of stuff. But it's very, very, very important that you keep the flow of your routine. Little slipping here. Again, not a lot of head movement, right? Not a lot of slipping, not a lot of blocking. Mm-hmm. Some sneaky jabs as he's going from the front foot, pendulum walk, front foot. I can't exactly tell if he's stepping, if he takes a small, tiny little step. Yeah, it does look like he does. and getting on the line with all the ones, right? Boom. And now he's going to use that. Boom, boom. Beautiful, right? Have some things that you set up and you work off of your stuff. 1-2, pretty quick 1-2s. Now, I put a video up on YouTube a couple days ago about Spence. Cool, right? Getting on the line, 1-2, 1-2. And how he did not have very many, how do you say this? Very many games and very many tricks and very many things that he did in the southpaw in the closed stance as he did in the open stance on the mitts, right? Now, when we see Charlo here, so far it looks like he has two openers, jab, right? And then the right hand. Okay? How many times is he blocking when he gets on the line? How many times is he slipping? Right? Has he thrown any jabs and then done any pull counters? Has he done any jabs and he's done any blocks, any catching, right? Any slips into punches? And, not that Canelo is like that good at dealing with the jab anyway. He's not. Which is why Bivol had so much success, right? Part of why. Um, but Charlo's going to need more than one game to play off of his jab. He's going to need to be able to not just leave the line and throw a 1-2, but he's going to need to be able to. Oh, and I don't think I've seen him so far do the jabs into the hooks yet. We'll see if he does that too. Um, but yeah, it's just not a lot of very diverse work here from Charlo. A lot of punching, right? I know it's a heavy bag and you're supposed to punch, but where's the games? Where's the pendulum steps off the jab? Where's the slips off the jab? Where's the pull counters off the jab? Where are the pull counters? Where's the lead left? The lead right hand? I love the speed though. Boom, 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 boom. Still, after practicing those punches, okay, 2 punches there. I like that. Getting on the line 2-3. Here, left hook, and then into a sequence. I don't know if that's going to be one of the ones he's probably going to be using in the fight. But I do like that at least he practiced something after that left hook because Canelo likes to open up with the right hand a lot. He likes to get his opponent on the ropes or circling away, throw the right hand to the body. And if Charlo starts countering that with the left hook, Canelo's going to fight him. Right? That wasn't too bad. Boom, boom, left hook. Block, block. Right? Not bad. Starting to warm up a little bit. Circle the bag. Use a little bit of head movement. Interesting here. Jab, pendulum, into a 2, into a 1-2, 1-2. Can't exactly tell what he's doing with his feet though. 2, pendulum, into 1. Now again, very important that he does something after that left hook. He practices something after it. Also very important you're throwing this punch. You can't cross back over the line, especially because your right hand is still extended. You don't have any guard. So as you cross, you're exposed, right? As he just goes back to that same position. And like when you throw a punch like that and you cross your opponent's line, right? You're on a new side of their line. You're going to cross right back into their left hook there. So you got to defend your position. You got to interact with that shot. Nice little routine here. Boom, boom. Pretty cool sequence and very, very long sequence right here, right? Getting a little sequence going here. Left hook, step around, control, boom, 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 boom. And then continue it going with some defense. Pretty decent sequence. Now, why does it end here? Why is it over? Why are you done training? Getting back on the line. Controls it with the jab. Follows up with the 1-2. Pretty quick 1-2. Little quick 1-2 as well. Gets onto the line with a 1-2-3. And then rolls. And then does what? Be very careful with that move. And we're gifted with another round. And another one. So he did 3 rounds of shadow boxing, I think. Maybe only 2, I don't know. 3 rounds on that pad. This is his 3rd round on the heavy bag. Is he going to do full 12 rounds? I mean, that's 9 rounds of work, right? And like for his media workout, I like it. Decent speed, following the bag while it's penduluming and moving around. Again, just a lack of, variety in the things that he's practicing. There's his 1-1-2. I don't like that bouncing and that fake circling there. There you go. A little bit of real explosiveness. I was wondering when we were going to see it. I want to hear that too. Sorry, you guys don't get to. Oh, no sound on the heavy back work. Lame. Okay, there you go. And started increasing the level of difficulty here, throwing multiple punch combinations. 1, 2, 3, 4. Overall, like, it's a pretty decent workout. If you guys went and practiced this exact workout, um, have some more high intensity stuff, right? It's not bad. What? What? And again, not a lot of head movement, right? A lot of jabs, which is good. The jab is going to be pretty effective, I think, in the short term. Again, Canelo had a lot of trouble with Amir Khan, and his jab was fast. He would be on the line, off the line, but all that brought him to what? A huge knockout loss, right? So he's going to have to be careful with the stepping jab. He's going to have to be careful with that stuff. In speed, combinations like that when he's throwing those 4 and 5 punch shots, that might be something that's very effective against Canelo because Canelo's really a 1 punch at a time fighter. Sometimes he'll throw 2 punches, but how often do we ever see him throw 3? It's usually 1, right? Anyway, a lot of the stuff, with the feet, we can't really see. Throwing a right hand here, defending his position, and then blocking with the left again. Some good defensively minded stuff. Little right hand, tries to exit the line, not bad. But he does look like he resets and crosses back across the line. Is that it? I think that's it. pretty good workout. Um, there are some other things. We're gonna take a look at Jermell with here's Joan Guzman on the mitts on him, right? And I think that this mitt style is like a little better for Charlo. Um, Canelo's going to be like a counterpuncher, right? So having things that he's going to be able to see, boom, boom, stuff to interact with, right? Um, I think that Joan Guzman has been doing a pretty good job with some of the stuff. I don't know everything. I don't get to see a lot of Joan Guzman's work, but this is really cool, really innovative stuff with him. He's got the punch shield on, and as he's moving around, he can dodge punches and still throw punches at his opponent, right? So pretty cool. Think about this, right? And now real quick, this is the difference, Bomac. No offense, right? But this is the difference between when a guy who was a fighter does this stuff with his fighter and a guy, and I know he used to be a fighter, he's not a winning fighter, right? He fought, he competed, blah, 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 respect some whatever shit, whatever. But, when you're not, and I only say this because, be very careful with your health, Bomac, but when you're not a fat fuck, right? Like, this is much more dynamic work for your fighter, right? Being able to move around with them, being able to throw punches and have them throw punches at you. Because is this not better work than what Crawford gets when he's hitting the little medicine ball that Bomac holds? It's obviously better, right? As Bomac can only stand there. No offense, Bomac, whatever. Probably trainer of the year this year. I mean, maybe, I don't know what the fuck that means. But we're gonna take a look at another little video, and I thought this one was really cool here. Catch counter, catch counter, catch counter, boom boom, boom boom, boom boom, boom boom, boom boom, boom boom. And this is one of those things that I'm talking about, right? Having games to play where you practice defense, offense, defense, offense, defense, offense, defense, offense, right? And we have all these little games that he's playing, and it's interesting because Derek James is going to get a lot of credit for the work that they're doing, but I've never seen him do boom, 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 boom. And in the best sequences that he has in his fight with Castaño, bop, bop, they're here. Catch, counter. He's trying to catch and counter here too, right? And these things come from Joan Guzman's training, right? The work that he's doing, the fluidity, the movement, the being able to land punches and catch and counter, the defensive stuff. These are some examples of the games that you want to be playing off of your defense, right? Like Teofimo Lopez, right? Being able to catch and counter, being able to interact with your opponent, and then strike them. Okay, and if you look at the mitt work that he does, a lot of times it's pretty bland. There's not a lot of very deep sequences. There's not a lot of, it's basic, just get on the line and control it one time, right? Like as if you're Floyd Mayweather and you're just always going to have the fastest punches, right? Or that your opponent is not going to eventually time your punches. Like when you guys rate Marcos Maidana, like where do you rate him in all-time great fighters? You can't, because he's not one. He's not. He's a chubby fat guy. He's never been strong enough to even do the most athletic and incredible moves in boxing. There's no way you could rate him as one. But he almost knocked Mayweather out in what was it, the end of the third round of their second fight. He timed and beat Mayweather's pull counter. Even if you're the fastest and the quickest guy, people are going to figure out the timing. They're going to figure out when they need to work to catch you. And you need defense. You need to be able to block and interact with punches. Yeah, yeah, so I think this is going to be a very interesting fight. I think that while most of the work that he did today, like if you guys at home did that workout, that might be a tough workout for you and it'd be a good workout for you. But I would say when you're going to fight, um, one of the top pound for pound fighters in the world, and like even that's debatable because he lost the first Gennady Golovkin fight. I thought he lost the second one. Maybe you give him a draw, right? He's finally gotten back and gotten the third fight. He lost to Bivol. He's not fought any of the real killers at 168, right? When is he going to fight Demetrius Andrade? This is the first time he's fighting Jermell Charlo, and that guy was a champion. And Jermell Charlo, they've been champions for years, right? He's been fighting guys like Avni Yildirim and, the Smith guys, right? Why is he fighting the Smith brothers over and over again? But not the Charlo brothers, like all back in the day, right? Well, we saw what happened when he fought Bivol, right? So anyway, this is an interesting fight. I'm kind of rocking with Charlo. I think that if Charlo doesn't let the moment get to him, he has the talent to compete with Canelo. Canelo's, people say he's got slow feet, right? But like, that's like part of the problem, right? That's part of the problem. Canelo almost only practices his striking, right? Think about this, right? What's his name? Crawford does mitt stuff, right? Like I was talking about with Bomac, like on the medicine ball thing. But Crawford also does mitts with another mitt guy, right? They gave him like some credit for it during this camp, right? Like as a guy that's been working with Crawford for a really long time, and he was still like pretty humble about it. But he gets other work done. Canelo doesn't have anybody that he does any other work with, right? Canelo's only working with Eddie Reynoso, right? Like when they came over, they didn't need to go find Freddie Roach, like that one dude, Boo Boy Fernandez, right? Boo Boy does 90% of the work with Manny Pacquiao. He does like 90% of the work, and they do it in the Philippines, right? No offense, he does better work than Freddie Roach does. More dynamic stuff, and like, Freddie Roach isn't who Freddie Roach was back in the day. But Canelo doesn't have anybody that he practices his boxing with. He doesn't have anybody that he practices his speed with. That he does, real boxing stuff. So anyway, all that stuff is really interesting. This is by far the most interesting thing because I'd never seen this clip before. I had no idea that Joan Guzman was working with anybody, to be honest. I know that Yoel Casamayor, who I had the pleasure of briefly meeting in Vegas. I was coaching one of my fighters, this guy Oscar Peralta, and we got to kind of meet Casamayor, and it was kind of a surreal experience. Like, oh man, I've watched this guy throw so many punches in my life. I've seen so many of his fights, of his movements. Like, yeah. Anyway, shout out to Casamayor, big fan. But yeah, Canelo's a one punch at a time fighter. He's a one punch at a time fighter. He doesn't have good defense. He doesn't block punches very well, especially after exerting himself and throwing his hardest punches. And the fact that Canelo can do something, or that Charlo can do something, this is like high level stuff. Wait, time out. Smacked him in the face, counter. Okay, that's dangerous. All right, time out. Left hook, right catch. Left hook. Where's your block at, bro? Okay. Now, this is actually exactly what I was talking about in the last sequence where I said in here, when he throws the shot, boom, he needs to be worried about a left hook here. He needs to be worried about defending this position. He needs to be, I don't want to say worried, but this is the position that his opponent is going to be throwing a left hook from, right? Right after, here it comes. And it still made it through the mid, or through the guard, just like it did here. So very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. One of those kind of small accidental holes. I also actually, you know what? Bringing it full circle, you guys. Let's just bring it a little bit full circle here. Maybe. Come on, video. The fuck? Why are you freezing on me and shit? Okay, idiots. So Charlo, when he gets into position to throw that right hand, what's wrong with you, video? Remember earlier when we were talking about he gets into position to throw that shot and he crosses the line? And when he does it, I'm never going to be able to find the actual clip, I don't think. So when he gets on the line with these ones here, okay, so not the greatest angle, not the same one, but he's controlling the line, and he takes a step on the line with the left foot and then throws the right hand. And this is where that hole for the left hook goes, right? So there are consistently small left hook holes here against Jermell. There were also some on the heavy back. Oh my goodness, I got the exact spot. And then he rolls over here and he gets on the line. Boom, boom, right? And he's doing the exact same move. He's going to take a step on the line. Boom, right? Cross the line. His hands are down. Yeah, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Canelo's best weapon, it's very likely his left hook. Yeah, very interesting. Canelo, sometimes he'll wait on the line sometimes, but when he was on the inside with Plant just didn't throw enough punches, right? Anyway, I don't know. I think at the moment, I'm rocking with Charlo. I think he's got a decent shot at stealing this fight. If he doesn't let the moment get to him, he controls Canelo. He gets Canelo to make the first move. He doesn't freak out when his orbital bone is broken. If he blocks and he's able to catch these punches and counter pretty well, he has a pretty decent shot at winning this fight. Again, Canelo's a one punch at a time fighter. He doesn't fight off of his punches very well. He gets very predictable, even more predictable than Errol Spence. Yeah, so I think I'm going to be rocking with Jermell Charlo. Now, for your chance to win a Fouts Boxing combat system, if we fight how we train, what is the goal of your training? What is your goal of your training when you work on the heavy bag? What is your goal in your training when you shadow box? What's the goal of your training when you use any piece of boxing equipment? Okay? Go ahead and leave your answers in the comments below. Feel free to elaborate a little bit to make your point. But what is it that you're trying to accomplish? Okay? Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to check out my Patreon. And again, don't forget to check out the Fouts Boxing combat system. It's the most complete combat system on the planet. The only one that is able to teach you how to use your body mechanics correctly. But also, because of the understanding of how your body mechanics are supposed to work, it's the only system that works with your body mechanics, if that makes any sense. Anyway, yeah, I think I'm going to go with Charlo here. I think, not to be a hater, but usually it's pretty easy to pick Canelo to win the fights. But, 168, Charlo's going to be pretty big. He's already pretty fast. He might just squeak by.